Hey there, Casey Gray here from The Conscious Builder. I am a local builder here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and today we are going to discuss increasing your property's potential by adding a coach house. First, let's define what a coach house is. So a coach house is a separate dwelling unit, separate from your principal dwelling unit on the same property, but a smaller version. Essentially, a tiny home on the same property as a larger home. The first thing you're going to want to do is figure out whether or not your property is eligible to add a coach house to it. Now, this is going to vary from city to city, but we do have a list that is based here in Ottawa. Your lot must have municipal water and wastewater services, or in rural areas be at least 0.4 hectares with a private well and septic system. The coach house must have servicing from the primary homes, municipal water, and sewer connection. The lot should contain a detached, semi-detached, duplex, or townhouse principal dwelling unit with proper access. Your primary dwelling should not already have a secondary unit like a basement apartment, garden suite, or rooming units. Only one coach house is allowed per principal dwelling. They are prohibited in floodplains. Coach houses must be located in the rear yard of the principal dwelling in urban areas with specific location rules in rural areas. The maximum size is 40% of the principal dwelling's footprint, not exceeding 80 square meters in urban areas or 95 square meters in rural areas. Height restrictions include being not taller than the principal dwelling with specific limits based on roof type and location. Setbacks, which is the minimum open space around any building or structure, should be a minimum of 1 meter in urban areas or 4 meters otherwise. Existing trees and landscape must be preserved according to the Urban Tree Conservation Bylaw. You're also going to want to get clear on what the intention is for the project. Now, perhaps you already did that and that's why you're watching this video, which is great. But if you haven't really worked through all of that yet, there is some great potential for a coach house. For example, it could just be a rental unit. So it could just be added monthly income. It could be for your in-laws because maybe they need a space to live, or another family member. It could actually be your main residence that you move into, and then you could rent out the principal home. That is something that we had clients of ours do in the past because they didn't need all the space of a big home, so they took the smaller space and took the larger income from renting out the main home, and then they can just switch it out later whenever they're ready for that. Could also be a home office space, right? Something that's separate from your house so you don't have all the distractions. Whatever the case, get clear on that because that's going to help you in the design process. There are two other important factors that you need to keep in mind when you're designing and planning for your coach house. Number one is that you need to maintain the privacy for your neighbors. So if you're putting this home in the back corner of your lot, you're likely not going to have windows on the two sides that look into your neighbors' yards. The second thing is that this coach house needs to remain a part of the principal dwelling that it was built with. So for example, if you have a double lot and you're thinking of severing off part of that lot, you don't want to put the coach house on the lot that could be severed off because then you will not be able to sever that lot. You want to make sure that it stays on the lot where the principal residence is going to be located. Now, if you're going through these planning steps on your own, I will lay out some steps that you're going to want to go through. Now, if you're working with somebody, they should be taking this into consideration when you hire them. However, here's a list for you to work through. Investigate the cost of water, sewer, and electricity connections. Remember that these need to come from the principal residence. Where we are here, once again, in Ottawa, the toughest part is getting the water and sewer connection from the existing home to this coach house, because you could easily put it up on helical piles, but then you need to insulate the plumbing that goes into that, and that's where it gets a little bit tricky. So you're going to want to make sure that you understand the cost implications with something like that. Next, you want to ensure the proper grading and drainage of your property. You'll want to check that there are no easements that affect your proposed coach house location. And you're going to want to assess and protect existing trees and plan to minimize impacts of landscaping. Now, trees are not something that we love to take down because they provide all sorts of great benefits. However, if you're on a smaller lot and there is a big old tree right where you want to put your coach house, or even somewhere, say you don't have a really large backyard and there's a couple big trees back there, chances are you're going to damage this tree. So you're going to need to get the proper permits to remove that tree if it's beyond a certain diameter. So these are all things and hoops that you're going to have to jump through with the City of Ottawa. You'll obviously want to ensure compliance with the Ontario Building Code and obtain necessary permits or permits for wherever you live. And consider that your property taxes are determined by the Municipal Property Assessment Corporation, so MPAC for short, and they may change as a result of adding a coach house to your home. If you're renting this out, remember that rent counts as additional income, so you're going to want to talk to your accountant about how to manage that. And also notify your insurance company or broker as early as possible, as this will affect your insurance. To help you through this process, we have created a free coach house planning checklist that you can download in the link below. Now, if you have an existing structure on your property that you are hoping to turn into a coach house, this can definitely get a lot more tricky. Now, there are ways that you could grandfather in. You could maybe be closer to the property line because of what's there, which is great. However, there is a lot of other things that need to be considered that we can't get into here. So I'd highly recommend that you give us a call if you're in the area, or give a reputable contractor a call if you are somewhere else in the world, because you want to make sure that you understand what's there, if you can build on it, or if you can work with it, or if it just makes sense to knock it down and start from scratch. If you're interested in more in-depth information, you can check out section 142 of the zoning bylaw if you're in Ottawa. If you're not in Ottawa, then you're going to have to look into the bylaws in your area. But wherever you are, I do highly recommend that you bring on a team of professionals to help you with this. Building a house is no simple project. Yes, this may be a small coach house, but there are a lot of steps involved, from the planning to design to construction of any building if you're going to do it well. So you can reach out to us, once again, if you're in Ottawa, or find a reputable contractor in your area. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out or post your comments down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Casey Gray, and this is The Conscious Builder.